Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Spellbinders Report, doing an article from the Patriot Update, a conservative newsletter. They're now telling us to watch out for certain organizations out there, which is true. They're anti-Tea Party organizations, and they will be out there collecting money to use against you, against a patriot out there, the real person that believes in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. This is called stealth anti-Tea Party websites. Be careful who you trust. Where it comes out to be that those pesky Democrats are at it again, and this time they're aiming for the group that almost single-handedly changed the standing of the House of Representatives in 2010, the Tea Party. With their usual aplomb, instead of fighting face-to-face like decent human beings, the Democrats are sneaking around back and trying to find Alinsky, which I'll go over that, approved ways to infiltrate the unseen. Alinsky was a radical who came up with a way of winning arguments to get everyone to be confused and then get off the real issues and throw them off on sideline issues. Obama and Hillary are experts in this. They are doing this with the help of a very deceptive website called patriotmajority.us. Formerly, it was called theteapartyisover.org, a group which basically funnels money out of everyone from ordinary citizens to big labor unions and redirects them into slush funds for democratic activities or collectivism. When you first go to the Patriot Majority website, it initially looks like every conservative website on the internet. It's all in red, white, and blue, and a video of the Statue of Liberty and graphics at Rushmore. Their Patriot Majority logo has the usual Tea Party graphic of Revolutionary Soldier and a profile holding a rifle. Their motto is, "We believe it is our patriotic duty to protect the American dream, strengthen national security, and provide for common good for all Americans. We also work independently to elect candidates who support these patriotic policies." And you can go down through there, but you'll find out that if you go to the link they still got on there for the link down there that was the Tea Party is Over organization, you'll find out that they're really a wolves in sheep's clothing. You know, this is what they say on their thing, but when you click on the link called The Tea Party is Over, you will see the real monster behind the proverbial curtain. And there's more of these creatures. I'm not going to read through this. I'm going to read the article from 2008, early 2008, before the elections. And here I are. The American Public Policy Committee. That's one of the the wolves in the sheep's clothing. Patriot Majority, Citizens for Progress, Oklahoma Freedom Fund, Mid-Atlantic Leadership Fund, Public Security Now, Pioneer Majority, and Bluegrass Freedom Fund. These groups work hard to win the November 10th elections using their money in anti-Tea Party ads and more. And all of their money came from the Patriot Majority and the Citizens for Progress, also called the Patriot Majority West. Election law experts call the naming systems intentional and generally disapprove of the practice. But you know how that is. Ryan said, "I don't take issue with and have long complained about groups that shield particular special interests with innocuous-sounding names like Americans for America." That type of naming of an organization, I believe, is specifically intended to obscure the true sources of funding of the special interest groups behind the political activities. Some of the majority or major contributors of the Patriot Majority and the Patriot Majority West service are employees of International Union and Change to Win, the Communication Workers of America, the National Education Association, the Teamsters Union, the United Food and Commercial Workers Union, and the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employment, which in 2008 donated $5.8 million to Patriot Majority and another $4.1 million to Patriot Majority West. What this means to you is that taxpayer dollars sent up as union dues have been going to fund a host of democratic causes and help squash the Tea Party movement. So please, Please be very wary of any site you visit which may or may not be what you think it is. I personally saw several of my Facebook friends listed as members of the site. The Democrats are out for blood in 2012 election, and they are willing to achieve their goal through any means available. Now the article. Hillary and Obama and the Cult of Alinsky. Most Americans never heard of Sal Alinsky, yet his shadow darkens our coming election. Democratic frontrunners Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama both worship at the altar of Alinskyism. In 1971, the book called Rules for Radicals, Alinsky scolded the 60s left for scaring off potential converts in Middle America. True revolutionaries do not flaunt their radicalism, Alinsky taught. They cut their hair, put on suits, and infiltrate the system from within. Alinsky viewed revolution as a slow, patient process. The trick was to permeate existing institutions such as churches, unions, and political parties. In his native Chicago, Alinsky courted power whenever he found it. His alliance with the prominent Catholic clerics such as Bishop Bernard Shirel gave him respectability. His friendship with crime bosses such as Frank Nutti, Al Capone's second-in-command, gave Alinsky clout on the street. You see, Alinsky was born in 1909 and died in 1976. In our book, The Shadow Party, How George Soros, Hillary Clinton, and the 60s Radicals Seized Control of the Democratic Party, my co-author David Horowitz and I traced the rise of Alinsky's political influence since the 1930s. He excelled at wooing wealthy funders, start up money for his industrial area foundations, a training school for radical organizers, came from the department store of mogul Marshall Field III, Sears Roebuck, Harris, Adriel Rosenwald Levy, and Gardner Howland Shaw, and Assistant Secretary of State for Franklin Roosevelt. Alinsky once boasted, "I feel confident that I could persuade a millionaire on Friday to subsidize a revolution for Saturday, out of which he would make a huge profit on Sunday, even though he was certain to be executed on Monday." One of Alinsky's benefactors was Wall Street investor banker Eugene Meyer, who served as chairman of the Federal Reserve from 1930 to 1933. Meyer and his wife, Agnes, co-owned the Washington Post. They used their newspaper to promote Alinsky. Agnes Meyer personally wrote a 6-part series in 1945 praising Alinsky's work in Chicago slums. Her series, called The Orderly Revolution, made Alinsky famous. President Truman ordered 100 prints of it. During the 60s, Alinsky wielded tremendous power behind the scenes. When President Johnson launched his war on poverty in 1964, Alinsky's allies infiltrated the program, steering the federal money into Alinsky's projects. In 1966, Senator Robert Kennedy allied himself with Union leader Cesar Chavez, an Alinsky disciple. Chavez had worked 10 years for Alinsky beginning in 1952. Kennedy soon drifted into Alinsky's circle. After race riots shook Rochester, New York, Alinsky descended onto the city and began pressuring Eastman Kodak to hire more blacks. Kennedy supported Alinsky's shakedown. The two men had an understanding, Alinsky later wrote. Alinsky's crowning achievement was his recruitment of a young high school student named Hillary Rodham. Imagine that. She met Alinsky through the Radical Church group. Hillary wrote an analysis of Alinsky's method for her senior thesis at Wellesley College. They remained friends until Alinsky's death in 1972, not 76. I was giving him a ghost. Alinsky tried to hire Hillary as a community organizer, but she chose instead to attend Yale Law School. Nonetheless, Alinsky's network continued to guiding Hillary's career. Fresh out of law school at age 26, Hillary received a prestigious appointment to the House Judiciary Committee. Watergate investigative team in 1974. She got the job on the recommendation of Peter and Marion Wright, aldermen The Edelmans had been trusted mentors of Hillary since 1969. New Republic editor Martin Perez called Marilyn Hillary's closest sister and ideological soulmate. Marilyn and Wright Edelman also happened to be an Alinskyite, have served on the board of trustees of Alinsky's Industrial Areas Foundation. Many leftists view Hillary as a sellout because she claims to hold moderate views on some issues. However, Hillary is simply following Alinsky's counsel to do and say whatever it takes to gain power. That's one of his rules. Do whatever it takes, whatever it makes to gain power. Barack Obama is also an Alinskyite. Trained by Alinsky's Industrial Area Foundation, Obama spent years teaching workshops on the Alinsky method. In 1985, he began a 4-year stint in the community organizer in Chicago, working for Alinskyites, group called the Developing Communities Project. Later, he worked with Acorn and its offshoot Project Vote, both creations of the Alinsky network. Camouflage is the key to Alinsky-style organization. While trying to build coalition of black churches in Chicago, Obama caught flack for not attending church himself. He became an instant churchgoer. Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama share an Alinskyite background. Tells us two things. First, they are leftists dedicated to overthrowing our constitutional system. Second, they will go to any length to conceal their radicalism from the public. That is the Alinsky method, and that is today's Democratic Party. And here is an article from the Free Republic. It states, understanding the Alinsky method of community organizing. It says here, Poe, they are leftists dedicated to overthrowing our constitutional system, and they will go to any length to conceal their radicalism from the public. Written by Bob Dill, September 24, 2008. Meet the real Obama in the Cult of Alinsky. The thing that hate hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done, that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. King James Version of Ecclesiastes. It is becoming readily apparent that the change being proposed vaguely by Senator Barack Obama is nothing new. It is simply the old Marxism and socialism with a new 21st century multicultural facet and a new age twist created by the 60s radical Samuel Alinsky and his fellow travelers that is effectively deceiving millions of dumbed down and brainwashed young adults. Rudy Giuliani, former mayor of New York, was being grilled on one of the Sunday morning television programs regarding the difference between Senator Obama and McCain. Giuliani insisted that Obama's tax plan was motivated by his intentions to redistribute wealth. On more than one occasion, he mentioned the name of Saul Alinsky. The name jogged my memory. Long-term reader of the Times Examiner will recall many articles regarding the deceptive and unethical Delphi technique and the specialized application of the technique applied specifically to teachers called the Alinsky method. Now, for this, I'm going to look up the Delphi technique. And here you have the Delphi technique. What is it? The Delphi technique was originally conceived as a way to obtain the opinion of experts without necessarily bringing them together face to face. In recent times, however, it has taken on an all-new meaning and purpose. In Educating for the New World Order by B. Ekman, the reader finds reference upon reference for the need to preserve the illusion that there is lay or community participation in the decision-making process, while lay citizens were, in fact, being squeezed out. The Delphi technique is the method being used to squeeze citizens out of the process, affecting a left-wing takeover of our schools. A specialized use of this technique was developed for teachers, the Alinsky method. The setting is a group is, however, immaterial. The point is that people in groups tend to share a certain knowledge based on display certain identifiable characteristics known as group dynamics. This allows for a special application of basic technique. The change agent for the facilitator goes through the motions of acting as an organizer, getting each person in the target group to elicits expression of their concerns about a program, project, or policy in question. The facilitator listens attentively, forms a task forces, urges everyone to make lists, and so on. While he is doing this, the facilitator learns something about each member of the group. He identifies the leader, the loudmouths, as well as those who frequently turn strides during argument, the weak or incommunicable. Suddenly, the admirable facility becomes devil's advocate. He dons his professional agitator hat, using the divide it to conquer technique.